We've all seen professional athletes, fitness influencers, or bodybuilders proclaiming their love for a particular pre-workout powder, pill, or potion. These champions have physiques and performance levels many of us admire, so it's natural to wonder if it works for them, will it work for me? But endorsements can be rooted in marketing as much as in personal experience. In this talk, I'll unpack the history and psychology of athlete endorsements, explain how sponsorship deals are structured, and explore why companies use celebrity athletes to sell products. We'll examine the science behind key ingredients and dosing, and we'll learn how to evaluate a supplement without being swayed by star power. By the end, you'll understand how to separate genuine recommendations from marketing hype. Let's start by examining the persuasive power of athlete endorsements. Celebrity athletes wield enormous influence. When a trusted champion associates their success with a supplement, consumers tend to take notice. Research shows that endorsements speed up purchasing decisions because people feel they can rely on the athlete's perceived expertise instead of doing their own homework. The athlete's credibility transfers to the product, fostering confidence and loyalty. Endorsements also tap into our desire to identify with high achievers. If I use the same pre-workout as my favorite athlete, maybe I'll train harder or feel more motivated. Brands know this and invest heavily in sponsorships because they know it can raise sales and deepen customer attachment. But endorsements are nothing new. Next, we'll take a brief look at how they evolved over the past several decades. Athlete endorsements are not a recent phenomenon. As far back as the 1980s, bodybuilding magazines were filled with ads featuring big names promoting protein powders and pre-workout formulas. Icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger and later Ronnie Coleman lent their images and reputations to supplement brands, often appearing in print ads and television commercials. Despite the passage of decades and the rise of digital media, these endorsements remain highly effective at capturing attention and driving sales. The formula is simple. Pair a successful athlete with a product, and fans will associate their achievements with the supplement. This historical context underscores how ingrained sponsorship is in the industry. Understanding how endorsements began helps us appreciate why they remain so pervasive. Next, we'll unpack what an endorsement deal actually entails. When you see an athlete proclaiming their love for a product, there's usually a contract behind that statement. Most sponsorship agreements involve financial compensation or product giveaways in exchange for promotional duties. The athlete might be required to post about the product on social media, appear at events, film testimonials, or wear branded apparel at competitions. Many contracts include exclusivity clauses, preventing the athlete from endorsing competing products. Essentially, it's a marketing partnership where the athlete agrees to leverage their reputation to boost brand visibility. It's important to understand that these arrangements are structured business deals, not spontaneous endorsements. With that context, let's explore the different types of sponsorships that athletes participate in. Not all endorsements look the same. A paid sponsorship typically pays the athlete a salary or lump sum to promote a product through posts, appearances, and marketing materials. Affiliate codes are common among influencers. The athlete shares a discount code with their audience and earns a commission on any sales generated. Brand ambassadors represent a company over a longer period, becoming part of its identity and often receiving both cash and product. Finally, some athletes collaborate on signature products, special editions co-branded with their name or likeness. Each arrangement carries different levels of involvement and compensation, but all aim to leverage the athlete's status to drive sales. Now, let's consider how much athletes actually contribute to the formulas they promote. Despite the perception that a sponsored athlete personally designed the formula they endorse, actual product development is usually carried out by teams of nutrition scientists, formulators, and regulatory experts. These professionals select ingredients and dosages based on research, safety considerations, and regulatory requirements. Athletes may be invited to taste test samples, provide feedback on mixability or flavors, or express preferences for certain ingredients, but they rarely dictate the ingredient profile or dosing. Their involvement is generally superficial compared to the scientific work that goes on behind the scenes. Recognizing this division of labor helps us appreciate that an endorsement doesn't necessarily reflect the athlete's deep knowledge of supplement formulation. Next, we'll explore why companies invest in athlete marketing despite this limited involvement. Businesses know that pairing their supplement with a successful athlete taps into powerful psychological levers. Trust transfer occurs when consumers attribute some of the athlete's discipline and success to the product being endorsed, assuming it must be part of their routine. Aspirational branding capitalizes on our desire to emulate our heroes. If my idol uses it, maybe I should too. Authority bias also comes into play. We naturally defer to experts or high-status individuals when making decisions, so we're more likely to choose a product if a champion recommends it. Companies intentionally harness these biases to reduce our hesitation and increase purchase likelihood. Next, we'll dive deeper into the psychology behind authority bias and how it shapes consumer decisions. Authority bias is a cognitive shortcut where we assume that someone who is successful or has a high status in one domain is also qualified to advise us in other areas. When an Olympic athlete or world champion endorses a supplement, we unconsciously trust their recommendation more than we would as strangers. This reduces our cognitive load. Instead of researching every ingredient, we rely on the authority figure's perceived expertise. Studies show that consumers attribute higher quality to products backed by prominent athletes, which in turn increases purchase intention. While this bias isn't inherently bad, it can lead us to overlook objective evaluation. In our next slide, we'll talk about situations where endorsements align with genuine product use and when that authenticity can build real trust. Not every endorsement is purely transactional. Many athletes take supplements as part of their own training and nutrition plans. When their personal experience with a product aligns with a sponsorship opportunity, their endorsements can be both genuine and profitable. Authenticity comes through when athletes share detailed, consistent feedback about how and when they use the product, rather than reciting marketing scripts. Over time, audiences come to trust athletes who are transparent about what works for them and what doesn't. These genuine endorsements can build long-term loyalty to both the athlete and the brand. However, not all deals are so sincere. On the next slide, we'll explore situations where endorsements are primarily marketing obligations with limited personal use. Endorsements can drift into pure marketing when contractual obligations outweigh personal experience. Some athletes are paid to promote products they rarely use, or they may switch allegiance frequently based on who offers the highest bid. When athletes parrot marketing copy without demonstrating how the supplement fits into their training, savvy consumers notice the absence of clear disclosure can make it hard to discern when a recommendation is genuine or paid. Affiliate codes and influencer deals further blur the line between advertisement and personal endorsement, especially when presented as discount opportunities. If trust erodes, endorsements lose their power. To understand how the modern landscape amplifies these issues, we'll next look at the role of social media influencers. Social media has turned thousands of fitness enthusiasts and wellness personalities into influential marketers. These influencers build communities by sharing workouts, nutrition tips, and lifestyle content, creating a sense of personal connection and relatability. Because the wellness industry lacks stringent advertising regulations, influencers often make sweeping health claims or promote supplements with little scientific backing. Discount codes and affiliate links are commonplace, giving followers a sense of exclusivity while providing the influencer with commissions. This mix of personal storytelling, unverified claims, and financial incentives can make it difficult to separate genuine recommendations from marketing ploys. In the next slide, we'll zero in on how discount codes function as a marketing tool rather than evidence of product efficacy. Affiliate codes have become a ubiquitous feature of supplement marketing. A favorite athlete or influencer might say, "Use my code for 15% off," creating a sense of urgency and making followers feel like they're getting a special deal. In reality, these codes serve two purposes. They track sales for commission payouts, and they create the illusion of exclusivity. The discount doesn't reflect the quality or effectiveness of the product. It's a marketing tactic to drive volume. Shoppers should remember that a lower price or a flashy discount code is not evidence of efficacy. Instead, evaluate whether the formula justifies the price at its normal cost. On the next slide, we'll address whether an athlete's success proves that a supplement works. It's tempting to assume that because a world champion uses a particular pre-workout, that supplement must be responsible for their achievements. In reality, elite performance is a product of genetics, rigorous training, nutrition, recovery, and mental toughness. Supplements play a supporting role at best. An athlete's success does not provide scientific evidence for a product's effectiveness. It simply shows that it's part of their routine. Correlation does not equal causation. Recognizing this helps us avoid logical fallacies and drives us to seek objective data. In the next slide, we'll shift focus from endorsements to evidence by discussing how to evaluate supplements objectively. To evaluate a pre-workout objectively, flip the tub around and read the supplement facts panel. Look for familiar ingredients like citrulline, creatine, beta-alanine, caffeine, and tyrosine, and note how much of each is included. Compare those amounts with research-supported dose ranges. If the numbers fall far below those ranges, the product may not deliver the promised benefits. Steer clear of proprietary blends that list a combined weight for multiple ingredients without specifying individual amounts, as this prevents you from verifying effective dosing. Objective evaluation empowers you to choose a formula based on science rather than marketing slogans. On the next slide, we'll recap the core ingredients you should prioritize. Most effective pre-workouts share a common set of ingredients backed by research. L-citrulline or citrulline malate enhances nitric oxide production, improving blood flow and pump. Creatine monohydrate increases phosphocreatine stores, enabling greater strength and power output. Beta-alanine raises muscle carnosine levels, buffering acidity and delaying fatigue during high-intensity exercise. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant that heightens alertness and decreases perceived exertion, helping you sustain effort. L-tyrosine, while less studied, may support cognitive resilience and focus during stressful workouts. Ensuring these ingredients are present at clinically effective doses is far more important than whether a famous athlete's name is on the tub. Next, we'll outline what those clinically effective doses look like. Research shows clear dosage ranges for pre-workout ingredients. Pure L-citrulline should be dosed at 6 to 10 grams or about 8 grams if combined with malate to significantly boost nitric oxide production. Creatine is effective at 3 to 5 grams per day once muscle stores are saturated. Beta-alanine requires around 3.2 to 6.4 grams per day, often spread out to reduce tingling sensations. Caffeine's benefits depend on body weight, with an effective range of 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram about an hour before training. L-tyrosine has been studied at around 150 milligrams per kilogram in military and cognitive stress contexts, though its impact on exercise performance is still being established. Products that don't meet these benchmarks may offer great taste but limited results. Up next, why transparent labels are crucial. A transparent label lists every ingredient and its exact dosage, empowering you to compare products and verify that you're getting clinically supported amounts. Without this information, you can't determine whether a formula meets research standards or if it's padded with inexpensive fillers. Proprietary blends often group several ingredients under one combined weight, hiding the individual dosages and making it impossible to evaluate efficacy. Transparent labels foster trust because they demonstrate that a brand is confident in its formulation and willing to be scrutinized. When combined with evidence-based dosing, transparency signals that a product is formulated for performance rather than marketing. Next, we'll examine how third-party testing adds another layer of quality assurance. Beyond reading labels, third-party testing provides an extra level of assurance that what's on the label is actually in the tub. Independent labs analyze supplements to confirm their identity, purity, and potency, and to screen for contaminants or banned substances. Programs like NSF Certified for Sport and Informed Sport maintain rigorous standards and regularly audit facilities. Athletes subject to drug testing can use products bearing these certifications with greater confidence that they won't inadvertently ingest a banned substance. For all consumers, third-party testing reduces the risk of adulteration and mislabeling. Certifications are not marketing fluff. They're evidence of accountability. On the next slide, we'll distill all this information into a smarter consumer approach. A smart consumer doesn't rely solely on endorsements, discount codes, or flashy packaging. Instead, start by checking the ingredient list and comparing the dosages to research-supported ranges. Evaluate whether the product uses transparent labeling and whether the brand invests in third-party testing. Recognize that endorsements, while powerful, are marketing tools rather than scientific evidence. Use them as a cue to investigate further rather than as a shortcut to a decision. By prioritizing transparency, evidence, and quality certifications, you can choose supplements that align with your performance goals and budget. This leads naturally into a broader discussion of how to balance marketing messages with scientific understanding, which we'll explore next. Marketing taps into our emotions, aspirations, and biases. It tells stories about champions who overcame adversity, promises quick gains, and exploits authority figures to instill trust. Science, by contrast, is built on research, peer review, dose-response relationships, and reproducibility. When choosing supplements, it's important to balance the inspiration you may draw from athlete role models with a critical analysis of the formula itself. Let the athlete motivate you to train hard, but let the research guide your purchase. By separating the emotional allure of endorsements from the hard facts of nutrition science, you ensure that your decisions are grounded in reality. In our final slide, we'll review the key takeaways from this discussion and empower you to apply them. Athlete endorsements undoubtedly influence our perceptions, but they are, at their core, marketing strategies. A star's success doesn't prove a supplement's effectiveness, and most athletes do not formulate the products they promote. To choose a pre-workout wisely, focus on transparent labels that list exact dosages, verify that those doses match clinical research, and look for third-party certifications. Remember that authority bias and influencer marketing can unconsciously sway your judgment. Recognizing these influences helps you make informed decisions. By relying on science rather than sponsorship, you can save money, avoid disappointment, and select supplements that genuinely support your training. Thank you for following along. Now it's your turn to apply these insights whenever you see your favorite athlete touting a new product.